If you've been living under a rock and you don't know what Claude Desktop is, then something is wrong with you. In this video, what I'm going to describe and talk about is exactly how you can pretty much replace your whole entire bookkeeping team, or if you have a single bookkeeper, whatever, with simply Claude Desktop, and more specifically Claude Cowork. So for reference, if you don't know what basically this Claude chat is, Cowork, code, the difference, I think everyone kind of is confused at this point. It's really simple. When you're using Claude Chat, and we'll get into the screen in just a second, but I just want to make sure you understand kind of the use cases and when to move into this, and how pretty much you can use Cowork to pretty much just replace your bookkeeper entirely for your business. When you use Claude Chat, you're just simply using it as a thinking companion. It's a great thinking companion. It can bounce back and forth ideas. It's not a total yes man. You can pretty much do anything with it, even if you're writing code there, but it's not really going to necessarily work with your files. Whereas if you're using specifically Claude Code, you can think of it as your AI co-founder. All right. So for your AI co-founder, what you would do, you would let it code, you would let it do things in a specific directory. You would let it program your apps, web apps, whatever you're programming. Whereas for Cowork, what you're doing is you're allowing it to say automate stuff on your desktop files, work, be productive there. You can even code within Cowork. I actually find Cowork more interesting because not only you can code and it has direct access to your files, but you can also to search the web, use your desktop, use your computer to even browse the web to do its own thing. So it's more so of this universal tool that kind of gives you kind of a hand in everything, from chat to actually being productive with it to even coding with it. Now, how do we actually replace the whole bookkeeper with this thing? Well, let's dive into the computer right now. All right, so check this out. We are in the computer right now, and the way this works is I just want to provide some context. So it's not like this thing will automatically just provide you the spreadsheet for your bookkeeping. You can do that, you can design it all and whatnot, but it's ideal if you provide it with a template that already works. So whether you're sourcing it from your own books or whatever, or maybe you just find one online, you buy one, you get one initially, or get someone to buy it or create it for you exactly to your specific needs, or you design it, or you could just work with Claude and just get it prompted into a Google Sheets environment where you can just export it, open it, and then everything's pretty much going to be there. But I have my own here, and if you maybe want a template of it, let me know. But the way it works, it's very simple. I'm just going to quickly go over how I am using Cowork with Google Sheets. And first, I'm just going to describe what's going on here in the sheets, right? So the way it works here is there are multiple tabs. So there's a personal tab, there's a LLC tab, there is a master tab, which pretty much aggregates everything together. There is a financial overview, which pretty much separates things by business. And then there's the all data tab, which is the most important thing. And the way this works here is all you really need to feed Cowork and this file sheet here is just really the CSV file of transactions. So assuming you have a format here of when the money came in or when the transaction happened, the amount of the transaction, the customer vendor name, the category of all the different potential fees or what's called transactions you have, the parent category, whether it's personal or business, the subcategory of what specific project it belongs to and stuff like that. So there are these different projects you can look into here from the sample list, and then all of these sample business accounts that you can potentially, or where this transaction came from, right? So with this in mind, the way you would pretty much work with this thing is, first off, you would just go to Cowork, you would pretty much just export the template or whatever current data you have there, and then you would pretty much just feed it a little prompt. So first, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to explain exactly what's going on here in my tracker so that the bot can understand. And then let's say I already provided a sample list of May transactions. So as you can see here, everything is for April and it's properly already labeled and organized. And as you can see here, this the aggregate and stuff like that of all the transactions. And this data pretty much here, as I said, is for April, right? No, by the way, it's March. But anyway, what I'm going to prompt here is the bot to help it, or Cowork to help it understand what's going on and what to do here. So pretty much what I want it to do is to pretty much just import this sample transaction into my list here. So if it's not already properly formatted, I use Copilot for my budgeting, and everything is just pretty much automated there. All I would really do is just literally get a sample, or say the statement files from your bank statements, your credit card statements, or whatever it is you want. Or if you just have somewhere easy to export all the transactions, if you're using an app, a budgeting app or something like that, you can just find where you can export all your transactions and then just give it to Cowork. So I'm just going to prompt it now, and let's just see what it does. This is my bookkeeping master sheet. there are a couple tabs here. There's a personal tab for my personal transactions and categories. There is a LLC tab for the whole entire business, everything that happens within it. There's a master tab, which pretty much aggregates and sums everything up together. And then there's a financial overview tab, which pretty much is specific to specific projects or say intellectual property within the business. And then there's the all data tab. So what I'm also providing you here is a CSV transaction or file of new transactions for May 2026. What I want you to do is to put everything or like append to the all data tab, and from there update all the other rows for May 2026. Got it? And then pretty much here, I'm using Super Whisper, by the way. So pretty much here, I'll just like prompt it. And what it's going to do is like the one thing I did forget to do is select a file or like a folder where to work in, but you would just pretty much pick the directory that you want this to drop the file in, and then you can pretty much just re-upload this into Google Sheets. So once that's done, I will pretty much show you exactly what it did and the final output of what it looks like. One thing I did want to mention here, like while it's working, I did want to mention that it's really good if at some point, once you do this right, you build the skill. So maybe we can go into another video on building a specific skill for this. I don't know, just let me know. But it's good in the future that you have the skill for this Cowork tool where it can, every single time you provided transaction files or whatever, or however way your system is set up, if you kind of had already something with a bookkeeper, you just pretty much have to explain everything going on with your bookkeeper and how pretty much you just provide a simple source of truth, which in this case is just a monthly statement of all your transactions, which I'm personally pulling from Copilot because it literally sees all my transactions. It's like the easiest thing ever. If you're using, say, something else, just find wherever you can export the files and then just provide it to Cowork, and then it's just gonna like run it and do its thing, and then it'll pump out a file, you re-upload it, or you just upload it into Google Sheets, and then everything's literally gonna be there in just a moment. You'll see in just a second. But as you can see here, it's appending it to the file, and then in a moment it's going to provide me the downloadable file. But like I said, it's really dependent on what your system is and how you are working with, say, a bookkeeper or someone managing, especially if you're doing this all manually. It takes up a lot of time. So you just kind of want to like give it a little rundown on what you're doing. The easiest thing that like cut my curve is just already having the template of how I do financial transactions and where I store it in like a sheets for like a master view, and then I just fed it, it understands it, and then from there it just works and adjusts the data so it is properly formatted and all the numbers are pretty clean. I would just also double check so it doesn't hallucinate any fake data, especially if you have a ton of transactions. But from my experience working with Cowork, it's pretty accurate. All right, and pretty much once this thing is done, all you want to do is just open it. Then you want to just re-import it into your drive, and then boom, it has the values updated. So I kind of just like went in and imported it just to make sure I don't have any sensitive data that shows up, because I realized that there were some hidden tabs that I had and I didn't completely wipe. So I just wanted to make sure there's no sensitive stuff. But I mean, nonetheless, I'll just show you the transactions that we used. These were pretty much the same exact transactions that was in the all data before, and is in what we got here is the bot, or just what Claude can do is it can just pretty much append everything. You know what I mean? You can just append it and format it exactly to how your theme or template has it. And then you can pretty much just every single month export your file, come to Cowork, get it to pretty much update everything. You download the file wherever it exports. Ideally, you just put it, or you just link it to a specific directory in your computer where it can give you the output. And then from there, everything is going to be pretty much calculated, especially too if all like your values here, they have the right formulas and stuff like that. I mean, it's super simple to use. Everything is just going to pretty much be there and properly assigned. And that's pretty much how you can use Claude Cowork, and how I'm kind of using it just to more and more remove things off my plate, and how I can just remove things that I don't necessarily need to spend money on. You know what I mean? So bookkeepers, simple tasks like that, tasks I would consider tier 1, which are just like super simple, automatable, and just to simply remove it off my plate, right? So when I use Cowork, I just think of it, okay, how can I perhaps automate a task on my machine, on my computer, that this thing can, you know, use my files for, or access my web browser for, you know what I mean? So when it has like this sort of like universal access to your machine, it's pretty much like having an employee literally on your computer that can do work for you, and it cooks. You know what I mean? Claude Cowork really does cook. But yeah, hope you found value in this video. Subscribe for more, and I'll be posting more this week on other cool stuff that I got for you all.